When the video title has the name of the game in it, you know it's got to be a special one or important or something. Welcome to another episode of exploring the historical differences between old school RuneScape and RuneScape in 2004. If you're new to the series, then please check out the playlist in the description and at least watch episode 1 because it'll answer every question that a new viewer would have. I've been having so much fun skilling lately that I haven't done any quests for a while. I also haven't really done any combat since Members has come out, and I figured the best way to feed those two birds at once would be by doing the Lost City quest, because that will unlock the Dragon Longsword, which seems like an important thing to have before getting into melee training. So let's do it. We've got a wizard, an archer, a warrior, and a monk hanging out around a campfire. Which sounds like the start to a very terrible joke. When you go into this dungeon on Entrana, there's no way to get back up the ladder. To get out, you either have to die, teleport out, or there's an option to go into the Deep Wildy. And there's no home teleport in 2004, so if you want to teleport out, you really will have to bring a teleport. It also drains your prayer when you come down here. I just recharged it, and now I'm at 3 prayer points. You have to get an axe as a drop from the zombies, and some people have said that you could try bringing a broken axe, like the axe head and the axe handle, bring them onto Entrana, then attach them. But I'm pretty sure you can't actually bring those items onto Entrana, so I don't think that would work. But I'm at the point where my combat is high enough to where it does not matter if I have to kill a few zombies with my fists. Man, I love how the old Greater Demons look. Alright, we have made it to the tree. We're gonna chop it, and the safe spot still exists. Or it's there in 2004. Just stand behind here and then manually cast... I got Firebolt. Manually cast Firebolt on the Tree Spirit, and hopefully not accidentally click a teleport out. Well, look how different the Tree Spirit looks in 2004 versus in old school RuneScape. It's quite a different look. You would theoretically need multiple for the future. There's one for Fremnic Trials that comes out November of 04, another for RFD, which comes out March of 06, another one for, well, or multiple for Fairy Rings when those eventually come out in July of 06. I do have to go the long way around the fence because in 2004, there's no way to get into the swamp from Lumbridge Graveyard. You do have to go all the way around that way. Father Ernie's house is over here as well, instead of being over here like it is in old school. But the shed appears to be in the same place. The shed to the Lost City. Let's enter on in and complete the Lost City quest. You get 3 quest points and access to Zanaris. Do you notice anything different about Zanaris? Something very, very different compared to old school? Well, first off, hold on. There's no fairy ring to get in, or fairy ring to get out. There's a ladder that you climb up to get out. But I'm sure all of you know that in old school, Zanaris is very, very blue. This is brown and green. I want to discuss a few things that I was looking up about the Lost City of Zanaris. A lot of people know Zanaris as being the moon of Gielinor, but there's no confirmed or definitive proof that this Zanaris is the moon of Gielinor. The moon, I believe, is confirmed to be named Zanaris, but this very well could be a city that just happens to have the same name as the moon. The city is most likely very deep underground, but it says right here on the wiki, Zanaris is also the name of Gielinor's moon, which is most likely a remnant of information from during the early days of RuneScape, before it was known to be the moon, or before, I guess, people knew the name of the moon. And the source right here is this link to a tweet from Mod Ash, or it's a thread that we can go through real quick. When the player's walking around the fairy city in Zanaris, is it on the surface of the moon Zanaris or underground? Ash says that it's another realm accessed through the mushroom portals. It might be a cave in another realm, but it's not supposed to be under the Lumbridge Swamp, which doesn't really give a clear answer. If we go down a little bit further, he says that the Fairy Queen has a line about there not being sunlight down here. So it does sound like it's a cave in whatever realm it's in, whether it is on Gielinor or some other realm, but we don't know if it's the moon or not. It also made me wonder, when did we find out that the world was named Gielinor? Because I don't think that we knew the name Gielinor from the very beginning of RuneScape. So I was doing a little bit of research. I pulled up the page for Gielinor on the osrs wiki, and I found this. This is one of the god letters from September 30th, 2003. And if we just search real quick here for Gielinor, I believe this is the first time the name Gielinor was referenced. September 30th, 2003. This realm's name is in truth Gielinor, yet is called RuneScape in the common tongue by its inhabitants. And if that is the case, then that means for the first 2.5 years of RuneScape, we didn't know the name of the world, or everyone just assumed it was called RuneScape. The next question is, when and why did they change Zanaris to have this undergroundy theme of the brown and the brownish green to the blue that it is today? Well, as for when, it was February 27th, 2006, released new and improved Zanaris, and this was when they released the Fairy Tale Part 1 quest. I don't know if there's any specific reason as to why they changed Zanaris to be blue that we know it as today. I mean, you could probably come up with a ton of different reasons, but in all reality, they probably just wanted to adjust the lore of the game as they went. And the art style of blue probably was just the vision they were going for that they didn't originally envision when Zanaris first came out in February 27th, 02, that's when Lost City came out. All the lore I've been showing has been the lore of old school RuneScape, but it looks like in RS3, it does seem, or at least the wiki makes it sound very definitive, that Zanaris is Gilnor's moon on RuneScape 3, which would suggest that it is, maybe it actually is more likely in OSRs that it is in fact a moon and not just an underground realm that happens to have the same name. It says right here, Gilnor's moon. If I control F moon from, oh, that's interesting. You can see Gilnor and the moon. Going by RuneScape 2 lore, and maybe some nerd will correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like we don't know for sure that Zanaris is the moon, or that this Zanaris is the moon. It just seems to be the most likely scenario based on context, and the consensus seems to be, yeah, that's probably right, we'll go with that. Which is very similar with this recreation and preservation project. Most content in the game is lacking confirmations and sources, and many assumptions have to be made in the coding. Many assumptions. It is mostly things that the average player would never notice in-game one way or another, but it's still unfortunate from a preservation standpoint that so many things will forever be left unconfirmed. So much has been lost to time already, and I imagine it'll only get harder and harder to recreate as time goes on, because, you know, sources become more difficult to find, old info gets erased from the internet, old hard drives become rarer, and in general there's going to be less and less people that played during that era to give their accounts of what they remember. Ironically, I'm also only assuming that that's the significance of the name of the project. I could be totally wrong and it's not that deep, and the project is called Lost City because the quest was about finding a lost city, just like the project is about finding the lost points of RuneScape history. But I like my deeper assumption of the lore behind the name Lost City better. Anyways, if any of you are even remotely interested in recreating and preserving this game, you don't even have to be a coder or anything. I mean, even if it's just as much as recounting something you remember, or just to see what's going on in there, please check out the development Discord, which is linked in the description. Now, Andrew Gower would create physical backups on tape of RuneScape every week during the early years of the game, and Ash said that he would see him take them off-site every week. So there's theoretically a chance that this version of the game exists somewhere in Andrew's garage, but after 20 years, it's more than likely long gone, and this is the closest we're ever going to get to truly experiencing those lost years. I want to see if there's a bank in Zanaris. It looks like there is on the minimap. There's the bank symbol. There's chests. Isn't there a bank chest in OSRS? Yeah, in OSRS, all these chests have the bank option. And there's also a polling booth here. And as you can see, if you weren't already aware, the city is very blue. With the quest done, I could buy a dragon longsword. And to get into the area that sells them, you do have to bring a diamond. One of the rewards from Waterfall Quest is 2 cut diamonds, so that works out very well. I saw there's a general store down here. Real quick, let's see what they have. That is very boring. Let's go east. The doorman does not appear interested in talking. Okay, I'll just enter then. You cannot pass through without paying the trading tax. One of the 3 guarantees in life: death, taxes, and burning the first shrimp on Tutorial Island in 2004 at least. Alright, we're in. I was looking on the marketplace to see if people were selling them. There's the Dragon Longsword and the Dragon Dagger. For the Dragon Longsword, there's no sell offers, so there's no point trying to find a better deal for the Dragon Longsword, which is the main thing I want to get. And then for the Dragon Dagger, there's also no people selling those, or even buying them either. So let's find whoever's selling. Hey, this is interesting. Lunderwind, when he talked to her, she says she's buying cabbage for 100 GP. Yo, new money-making method? Or probably not a very good money-making method since you have to pay a diamond to enter each time. Here we go, let's trade Urksol. Oh, that's not it either. Ruby rings. Found the shop right here. Dragon Longsword, 100k. The dagger's 30k, so let's spend 130k. I got plenty of GP now. Since I've been doing money makers over the last few videos, let's buy that, and let's put it on. The dragon longsword and the dragon dagger. Two very iconic weapons. One thing to note though is that the date that we're in, May 18th, 2004, there's no special attacks. Special attacks will most likely come with the next batch of content update release stuff because it came out on June 14th. 2004. I saw this ladder I'm afraid to go up, or it's two ladders somehow balancing on top of each other. Will this take me out of the area, or is this one of the fairies' houses up here? Oh, it tells you. It takes you to Al-Kharid. Oh. Well, I want to get a screenshot in here first for the thumbnail. Those weird Zanaris specific random events don't exist in 2004. They don't come out till, let me check. Yeah, I think it was in the same update where they added Fairytale Part 1. Says, watch out for random fairy effects though. Things have become awfully strange down there. So that was February of 06. When they overhauled Zanaris, they also added those weird random events. Now let's go up the ladder and see where it leads to. I imagine it's not a thing many people were able to do in 2004 because you have to pay a diamond to get in here. It's not a very common shortcut to take. Let's see. Okay, right behind the bank. You know what? That's really interesting that it took me right there because where I was located at underground, that might actually be directly above where I was at. And if that's the case, it's very interesting that it would take me there because if you were on the moon, why would it happen to take you to directly above where the ladder would actually take you to? Even though it's, I don't know, it's another realm though, so I don't know, everything's just coincidence. Maybe we'll never have the answer. Anyways, we got the Dragon Longsword now, which is, I would say the best weapon in the game, but it's not always the best weapon. It's a mix-up between the Dragon Longsword and the Rune Scimitar. The Dragon Longsword is stronger and more accurate, but it's slower. It's a 5-tick weapon, whereas the Rune Scimitar is faster, but weaker and less accurate, but it's a 4-tick weapon. The general rule of thumb is that if you're fighting a lower level or a weaker monster, the Rune Scimitar is going to be better than the Dragon Longsword because the monster has lower defense, and then lower hit points also leads to generally less overkill damage that you would otherwise be doing with the Dragon Longsword. So Rune Scimitar is 44 strength, 45 accuracy. Dragon Longsword is 71 strength and 69 nice accuracy, or stab as well. It's a good stab weapon. You'll still want to slash generally, but every once in a while there might be a monster weak to stab, like KBD for example. But with the Rune Scimitar, you definitely do not want to stab with it. But now that we have the Dragon Longsword, let's get into actually starting to train combat now, which is what I've been wanting to do for a while. Because like I said, I haven't trained combat like at all since Members has come out, and it's been over 2 weeks now. Yeah, 2 weeks and 1 day, 15 days. Since Members has come out. There's only one other upgrade that would be worthwhile to get before really getting into the melee training, which would be the Ring of Wealth. There's kind of only 2 rings in the game that are worth using for combat, the Ring of Wealth or the Ring of Recoil, but the Ring of Recoil is probably really only worth it for PKing, so at least for most players in the game, Ring of Wealth is the only option. So either you have that ring equipped or you have nothing in the ring slot. The Ring of Wealth is currently selling for about 230k, and I just spent a lot of GP on the dragon stuff. I know I have the GP to afford this, but I just feel like every extra day I wait, maybe it'll go down slightly more. Or maybe that's just penny pinching. Maybe it's not even going to go down too much because dragon stones are very rare in the game. I don't know. I'll probably bite the bullet and get it relatively soon. I want to train on Chaos Druids because Chaos Druids, as you probably know, drop a lot of herbs. And the only requirement I'm still missing for Legends Quest is 45 Herblore. I got everything else, but this is probably the slowest skill in the game if you don't have GP, or if you're doing it yourself Iron Man style. Herblore is extremely slow. And the sooner I start fighting these guys while I'm talking, the better. Even though I just got the Dragon Longsword, these guys are low level, so I'm not using the Dragon Longsword right now. The Rune Scimitar should be a little bit better for at least the level 13 Chaos Druids. Oh, before we get started, I also need to show my high scores. Let me pull this up, because I always like to show my high scores at the start and end of each video. So currently I am rank 35, and my combats, my melees, are probably what I'll be focusing on in this video. So you can take a look at that, the ranks. And right now my combat level, my combat level is 82. I don't think there's any downsides at this point to training my combat anymore, because if I wanted to keep it below a certain level, I think below 46 would have been the level, so I could left click Arty Knights, but I am well beyond that point. And I don't think there's gonna be any downsides to getting my combat level up from here. I'm gonna start with strength. We'll bring that up to level 75, and then I'll work on the other two after that from there, because at least attack and defense, because they're still relatively low. Those will be some nice relatively free and easy total levels, whereas strength is quite a few hours in between each strength level. But we'll get it to 75 first at least, because that'll look good. I've already learned a few things this trip. First, I don't need food. I don't think I've taken any damage at all this whole time. These guys use magic, I'm pretty sure, which is why I'm wearing dragon hide, but I'm gonna switch into the steel gauntlets for the +2 strength bonus after this trip. They do drop vials of water. I can clean herbs and put them into the vials and save an inventory spot, or save myself from having to buy a vial of water later on, because those are expensive. They're like 200 GP each. The 36 air rune drop is a very good drop because they're worth about 20 GP each, so it's like 700 GP each time you get the air rune drop, which is about the same price as a unit, except the air runes are stackable. I don't want to pick up the GP here because they don't have big GP drops, it seems, and one unit is already worth more than the amount of coins I'd be able to get from one trip. When I go to bank, I think it's faster to take this northern route rather than going south, because if you look on this map, if you go south, there's no log balance like there is in OSRs. You'd have to go all the way across that castle bridge and all the way back up, versus if you take the north route, it seems faster. I know my bank is not organized whatsoever with all these units, and while I can't identify at this point what the stacks are because I only have, what was it, level 17? I only have 17 Herblore. I'm not going to know what each of the stacks are at this point, but I'd at least like to get them all lined up with each other so I can get a general consensus of how many I have, and I can see the total amount a bit easier that way. And I'll put the unfinished potions as well next to them. Here's the strat for bank organization. We take out a bunch of items from up here that I don't care where they are in the bank. We then go down here, take out all these random herbs, and because I haven't closed out of the bank yet, these slots are still open, I could then deposit the herbs back into there and they'll be at the top, so I don't have to drag them all the way across the bank, or have to swap them over and over because you can't drag items. I think this is it. My bank's looking pretty nice considering the very limited options we have. We have the clean herbs, all the units, the very few secondaries I have, and the few unfinished potions I have. You can see my Herblore tab or section of the bank is very empty, but today we're gonna change that. Let's get back to the cast druids. Hopefully I didn't lose my spot. By the way, the anti-dragon shield, or as it was known in 2004, the dragon fire shield, we have the DFS in 04. The reason I'm wearing this is because it gives magic defense. You can see it's +44, but when I take it off, it's +42. So it's +2 magic defense. Not that it matters for the cast druids, but I thought maybe that magic defense tidbit could be useful for someone. In case you didn't see my thieving video, there is a thieving requirement to get into the cast druid tower. You need level 46. I'm seeing how much run it takes me to get to the bank, and as long as it's above 50 by the time I get there, yeah, it's good. So I'll still have run left by the time I get back. Just like with, I think, everything in this game, the higher the population on the world, the faster things respawn, whether that be NPCs, resources, item spawns, etc. I forgot about my limpet roots. I will say the one Herblore related thing I am proud of is all the limpet roots I collected when we were stuck in free-to-play. You get so many law runes from cast druids. Just in this trip so far, I've gotten 10 of them, which is pretty lucky for one trip, but we'll see how many laws I get by the end. I'll keep track of the number. We're about to get the first level of the video. There is 68 hit points. One of the annoying things about this spot is that it is super hard to find the world. I've just topped 6, maybe 7 worlds, and every world has someone in it. Oh man, I'm running out of worlds. I mean, I haven't tried these worlds. These all have really high populations, so I'm not too confident. Yay, I did find an empty world. And also want to mention, I don't think they really use magic. They use some spell that lowers your stats and also can bind you. Yeah, that. But I think for the most part, they use their fists. Doesn't really matter though, unless you have really low stats. D'hide or metal armor should work. I'm gonna go downstairs and try to see if I could thieve from the blood rune chest, even though my inventory is full. Because I want to see, well, I'm pretty sure it teleports you right next to Elena's house. I want to see exactly where it is to see if that's closer to the bank. It looks like I am thieving it. The loot will, yeah, just gets dropped to the ground. And I get teleported. No, I don't think it's worth going, no, I'm just going to keep doing what I was doing. Going back to fly fishing so I can AFK tonight, and oh man, this is what you love to see. There's like 30 vials of water in stock. It's so nice passively getting these every time I come by the shop. Usually it's sold out or there's like 2 in stock. This is a very rare sight. It's very fitting though because I was talking about Herblore and the monster I'm fighting is specifically for gaining Herblore stuff. Should I show you where, yeah, we'll do a little check-in where I'm at so far from the few hours I've been there today. About to get a strength level, 74. It's about 20k strength XP per hour, and at this point, it's 114k XP to 75 strength. So that's gonna be about another 6 hours of Chaos Druids to get one more strength level. I never bother burying regular bones that I get from monsters, only big bones and up. But to make up for that, I choose to get genie lamps instead. And I put the genie lamps into prayer, which is equivalent to burying over 100 bones. I just got an Herblore level from cleaning herbs. I haven't made a single potion since I started killing Chaos Druids. In fact, I don't even clean the herbs as I go. Like, I don't clean the full inventories. I just clean them one at a time for each vial of water. Otherwise, I keep them all as units and dump them into the bank. And from only cleaning them to match the number of vials I get as drops, I got to level 18. That's a good reminder. I should probably do this quest, the sheep herder. I heard that in 04, when someone gets their sheep in there, you can, like, steal it from them or something. I don't know exactly how that works, but there's a way you can, like, ruin other people's day. Guys, it's happening. Pizzazz just announced. The server update will be 15 hours from now, 2 hours of downtime, coming, Legends Quest, and bug fixes. I am not even close to being ready for Legends. 45 Herblore is a pretty big bottleneck for me, but even if I had it, I would still want to save Legends to be the last quest I get done. I still have a lot more quests to do before that. Plus, you need 107 quest points to be able to do Legends, which is like almost every quest anyways, but I still want Legends to be the very last quest on the list that I get done. What if I do start putting these lambs onto Herblore instead of prayer? Should I make the jump over to Herblore? Should I finally do it? Let's turn the sounds on. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. No more prayer. I guess you could ignore what I said before about the bones and stuff, but yeah, let's start tossing them on there because I really want to get the requirements for Legends. And after already spending a while at the Chaos Druids, I could tell it's gonna be a little bit rough. There's just some things that even having GP can't help you with. A lot of Herblore related things, like there's one person selling 61 unicorn horns, or same thing with the unicorn horn dust as well. There's no one even selling it. Like, there's a lot of Herblore secondaries and things that you either can't get, or if you are able to buy it, you can't buy too much at a time, and the stuff that you can buy is very, very expensive. Okay, there it is. 75 strength. It also got me to 83 combat, and I am so happy to be able to switch attack styles because it takes so long just to get one level. Being 20k XP per hour, I mean, at this point, it's like 6 to 7 hours for another strength level. For reference, even agility's faster than that because agility is like 30k or even more XP per hour. It's not like it's even fast at this point to level up my attack or my defense because even at the low 60s, it's around 30 to 40k XP per level, which is like hour and a half to 2 hours. But relative to my strength, it's gonna be a lot faster. 63 attack, I definitely would have recorded that in time, even if it didn't happen to be the last hit of the kill. Yeah, nice. Also, just happened to be on the last hit of the kill. I did not know that was coming up, but very nice. Well, to be fair, they only have 20 hit points, so I usually two-shot them. There's like a 50-50 chance that when I get a level up, it's going to be on the last hit. I logged off for 5 minutes, and I came back. I lost the world, of course. I hopped around a bunch of worlds, and I couldn't find an empty one. So I thought I would take this time to go do Sheep Herder, since it's in the area anyways. It can be frustrating when you have to hop around a bunch of worlds to find an open spot for whatever activity you're doing, especially with the 45-second hop timer. So it'll be nice to take a break and do a nice relaxing quest. This is a very interesting item, the Plague Trousers. They have the boots as part of them. So it's a leg slot item that prevents you from wearing a boot slot item at the same time. So I looked it up on the wiki and it shows it was like this up until June of 2006. I guess that's when they removed the boots part of it and it became just the trousers. You see me woodcut and fire make so much that I'm sure you know by this point that the logs look different in 2004 and how they look. And you can see the logs piled up right here. And these look very similar to the logs that you actually chop in the game. But if you take a look at old school RuneScape, you could see the logs. Those piles of logs right there look very different. I remember doing this quest as a kid, and it was like the most frustrated I had ever been at the game before. But surprisingly, in old school, or at least in recent years when I've done this quest on multiple accounts or leagues, I did not have any problem with the quest whatsoever. I think the trick with this is to spam click. A lot of people just like click and wait for it to move one tile, but I think you gotta be spam clicking the whole time. And then here, I'll just like live record right here so you can see me get it in. Or wait, that sounds kind of weird. See, it's not that bad though. You're just There you go. Spam click the whole time and you're good. Wait, actually, it looks like when Slayer music is prodding the sheep, they move multiple tiles at a time. See? But in 2004, when you prod it, it just... Wait, hold on, wait. When you prod the sheep, it only moves one tile at a time. So maybe that changes things a little bit. In 2004, they're called diseased sheep, but the name was changed sometime in the first half of 05. They don't know when the exact date was, but it was changed sometime in 05 to be called sick-looking sheep. I wonder if that's because they wanted it to fit with the lore better of the West Arty disease, like not being real or something. But then they changed their names again in 2019 to whatever color the sheep is. Wait, was I supposed to... I got all 4 sheep in here, but I think I was supposed to... Oh no, do I have to redo all of it? Oh... I was getting all 4 of them in here, and then I was going to use the feed on all 4 of them at the same time, but they like despawned or something. Oh no. I did find a few things about Sheep Herder. One thing, I don't know if this is true, but someone said that if you log out, you have to start over and do all the sheep again. Another thing that I saw is that you can get the sheep stuck in certain spots, and there might be a way to despawn them, but unless you know how to do that, which I couldn't quite figure out, I didn't really look into it, they won't get reset until the next time the game updates. So you could do that in every world, and then no one can do Sheep Herder until the next game update, unless you figure out how to despawn them. Here we go, Sheep Herder quest is completed. You get 4 quest points and 3.1k GP. Wait, before I drop this, I just want to check, because I see the jacket has gloves built in too. Does that mean you can't equip gloves at the same time as the jacket? Ah. I see. It's the same way it is in osrs to this day. I don't even know why I bothered coming back here. I knew there'd be someone here, so let's go find something else to do. Ooh, okay, I'm buying a Ring of Wealth right now. I just got a genie before I hop. There's level 20 Herblore. I can now clean Hairlanders. Okay, let's hop over. All right, well, I knew I would have to do it eventually. Figured may as well do it now, because the sooner the better. Ring of Wealth, 235k, and accept. Thank you. 230k is quite a lot. It's like 4 to 5 hours of training skills. Or if you're doing like a specific moneymaker, like 2 to 3 hours of doing moneymakers that maybe don't get you as much XP. But yeah, we got it now, Ring of Wealth. I'm trying to think of something else to train on, and Moss Giants came to mind. I know there's some Moss Giants by that place you go down for waterfall quests, so I thought maybe I'd go over there and try them out for a bit. It's been so long that I've done any melee training that my rune armor is all the way at the top of the bank. Like, that's how ridiculously long it's been. Let's grab it out though. I kind of forgot that the best shield I had was a mithril square shield, so maybe later I'll try to buy a rune kite shield. I saw they're 60k right now, which isn't too bad. Before members came out, they were 120k. But yeah, here's the Moss Giants. They're a lot closer to the bank than they were in free to play. Oh, someone's here, I'll hop. They're a lot closer to the bank in members than they were in free to play. Oh no, dude, this is another spot that's gonna be packed, isn't it? I didn't even think about that. 2 people in this world as well. I think this spot's a bust. I don't want to waste any more time hopping worlds. We'll find something else to train on. That's unfortunate. I found an empty world at Druids. I figured if I was going to hop around worlds, somewhere I'd rather do it here than at the Moss Giants, because I'd like to collect all these units. Going back to the Ring of Wealth though, now that I have that, I'm kind of curious, because I don't know, in 2004, did it pick up GP for you? Or is that an effect that was added later on? We'll find out very soon. Nope, it does not pick up the GP, which is kind of nice for cast druids, because I specifically did not want to pick up the GP here anyways, so that works out. As long as I get at least 2 key halves because of the Ring of Wealth that I would not have gotten otherwise, then it will have already paid for itself. And it's bound to happen eventually, as long as I keep training combat, you know, like I will get key halves from, well, monsters that have access to that drop table at least. The real question is though, will I end up getting a couple key halves before the price of Dragonstones goes a lot lower from here? Oh my gosh, another I just got a genie a couple of minutes ago. This genie is gonna get me another level. Toss this into Herblore. There's level 21. This level range from maybe around 10 to the 30s is like the perfect level range to put lamps into a skill where there's noticeable effects, where every lamp gives you like a big chunk of the way to the next level where it's very noticeable. No, I missed it, but it's in the chat box. I got an attack level. There's level 64. This was my first time trying to clean a Hairlander, and I'm able to clean it, but I can't make the unfinished potion until I get level 22. No! I can't believe I missed the herb level too. So I got like 2 genies right after that last herb level, and after cleaning a few more herbs to make unfinished potions, I just got level 22 already. I Fishing. Level 70 looks pretty good. Well, I got 65 attack, which also put me at 84 combat. And I'm gonna go with attack a little bit longer before switching over to defense. Good morning, they changed the login, so now there's a countdown timer for when you're able to log in. Can I click cancel? Oh, I can't even click cancel. I have to go back a page. Let's scroll down in the quest journal and see the thing. Legends quest is no longer grayed out. I'm sure there's a bunch of people in game already that have the Legends cape because it's already been out for a few hours at this point. The news post has not yet been updated with what all the bug fixes were, but whenever that does get updated, presumably later today, we'll take a look at all the changes in the game. Maybe I just haven't done enough combat, but this is my first time being crashed in 04. You know, like it happens so often in old school, but it's never happened to me in 04, so it's kind of a shock when it happens. But you know how long I've played for, so I feel like it's pretty good to have gone this long without being crashed. Yeah, it's just not worth it. We'll check out the Moss Giants, but I expect those are going to be crowded too. I'm not even going to bother hopping at the Moss Giants. Okay, let's go find something else to do. I was looking up cast druids on the OSRS wiki, and I saw this in the Yanille Agility dungeon, and I remember there's a door. Isn't this the 82 thieving door? I think, hold on. Yes, dude, I think this may be the answer. This door in the Yanille Agility dungeon that leads to the cast druids, and you go up and it's right next to a bank. I think that's how it works. Should we go for 82 thieving? What if I get level 82 and I go there and it's just as crowded? Honestly, if I had known that from the start, I don't think I would have even bothered training combat. I would have just gone straight for 82 thieving and then not even have to worry about... I mean, that's probably even closer to a bank than the cast druid tower, and I assume, hopefully, less competition there. So I'll be doing the same thing I was doing last video, where I'm thieving the Arty Knights and then doing 2 alks in between the pickpockets. I'm currently at level 80. Yeah, I think I'm like right at the start of level 80, so it's close to 200k XP to next level, which that's gonna be like probably 3 to 4 hours just for 81. So I've got a long day of thieving ahead of me, and I'm pretty sure one of the changes that came into the game is that NPCs now correctly despawn, because before pickpocketing was resetting the despawn timer. So I don't think thieving an Arty Bank is really going to be as easy anymore, because I don't believe the knights spawn in Arty Bank, and it's very easy to get them trapped for 5 minutes on accident. Yeah, the knight just despawned because they couldn't move to the side here. It's not a tile. It was stuck right here, and then it despawned out of the building. So yeah, they did change that with today's update. But that's why I'm doing it here instead of the bank, because it's a lot quicker to get the knight stuck in this building or this building. Or wait, there was already a knight in here. Okay, perfect. He should be despawning very soon. Oh, did you see? Here, watch how fast it is to get him back in there. Oh, he's attacking one of the people. Okay, so we'll attack him, run over to the building, we'll go up the staircase, and we're good. I know there's the method that people do in OSRS where they line up the Arty Knight so it can only move between 2 tiles, but it doesn't really work if you only have one person, because you're not clicking constantly, and if you get stunned, he could very easily, you can very easily just walk out. Plus, I don't have left click pickpocket, so it's not like I could just spam click there and not even look at the screen. I have to right click him every time, so I have to look at the screen the whole time anyways. I don't even know if that would work in 04 doing the 2 tile trap method, because movement is really weird with NPCs. I swear it's like, I don't know how to describe it, like predetermined or something. Like you can't, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that'd work. And when I run out of food, I trade the baker and I buy more food. I know there's 2 bakers here. Do they share the same stock, or do they have separate stocks? Can I buy more food from him? Oh no, it's the same. When you eat a slice of cake, it moves the remaining cake up to the top slot of your inventory, which I don't think it does in OSRS. I'm here to test it out. Let's see. No, it stays in the same spot. There's a symbiotic relationship that occurs between people thieving the Arty Knights and people thieving from the Silk Stalls, because they both benefit from the Arty Knights being trapped in the building. And as you can see, this guy that was stealing from one of the stalls trapped the knight in the building, and that benefits both of us. I love this flame war that's going on. This is very 2004-esque. They're arguing about crashing each other at the stalls or something. Wait, at the end right here, you can hop a little guy, respect your elders. Hey, just got level 68 magic, and I'm running low on nature runes. This is about all I have. Oh, I can now enchant Dragonstone jewelry. That could come in handy at some point if I want to make my own glory. They're still flaming, by the way. But I've had the marketplace up this whole time, and there's been no offers to sell nature runes for the last like 3 to 4 hours. I mean, this isn't a real offer. I don't think it's a highball offer. I think they're just advertising to get runecraft runners. So if I want to get nature runes, I'd have to go to V West and hope people sell to me there. And yeah, by the way, they've been going at this for a good like 30 plus minutes at least. It's crazy. I think it's finally ending. I'm just gonna hop and put you on ignore. Good luck, little noob. Aw, the entertainment is over. There's a genie. Now let's grab the lamp, put it into Herblore, and without even training Herblore today, there is level 23. Here we're buying 1,000 nature runes and apparently 69 GP as well for 280k. Well, I'm seeing this right here, selling soul rune for Legends Quest 5k. Hopefully by the time I get around to doing Legends, I'll be able to buy a soul rune from the shop. The knight was not trapped here. He could have moved to the west. So it must be where even if an NPC can move, if they just happen to not move for 5 minutes, which happened in this case, then that will also despawn them, because that's what happened here. And level 81 Thieving. Oh god, it's like 230k XP for the next level. That's fine because I'll be done after that level. One might even argue that this level 80 to 81 grind was more difficult than the 81 to 82 grind will be. Oh, I thought another fight was about to break out, but no, it ended wholesomely. Dang it. We did get the list of changes and fixes and update stuff. It's the first game update in 2 weeks since April 1st, so it's not just stuff from today, but it includes all the stuff they've changed over the last couple of weeks, but most of it is stuff that was changed today. When I make my osrs game update videos, I always summarize what Jagex says in there because it's usually really long and a lot of it isn't that important to the average player. But I read through this and it's like not at all like the Jagex posts. I mean, like everything that is being said, I mean, first off, this is really short, and second off, everything that's said in here is like really important. I have no idea how I could summarize this, so let's just start reading it. With this update, May 2004 is now feature complete and early RuneScape is forever preserved. This point in time, May 18th, 2004, Legends Quest was the last thing that was missing, and now it's finally complete. That doesn't mean it's perfect though. They will still be addressing bugs, polishing and catching inaccuracies, and working on the next game update, which they have no timeline for, but they will let us know when they are confident in their efforts. But the next goal is going to be June of 2004, specifically June 28th, 2004. I really wish it was June 29th because that's the update easier to rearrange bank when they added the swap versus insert option, and they added it where when you drag items up or down, it moves the bank along with it. So I guess we'll have to wait for the following update. Until the next post, have fun, keep reporting issues, and we've got more special stuff to talk about soon. Now let's take a look at all the changes. I mean, there's a lot, so I'm not going to go through every single thing. If you want to see every single thing, you can go to the website and see for yourself, or I'm slowly scrolling through kind of so you can pause and take a look at any point or anything that you want to see on here. Well, maybe I will point out some of the unimportant stuff just to really drive home how authentic they really want this to be and how much research goes into this. With every single little interaction, typo, everything. Added interaction to reattach black axe heads to axe handles. Prevent using waterfall rock from sides of the river. Drinking potions shouldn't stop player movement. Clear pending action when unequipping items. Reduced barbarian scream chance. Fixed Ranor weed level up message typo. Fixed some level unlock jingles playing the wrong variant. Added interaction message to dig site sign. As someone who has no idea how to code or anything, even to me, this seems like an unbelievable amount of effort that's gone into this. I know I say it all the time, but it's still like so shocking and amazing to me what they've done. You can click on any of these things and pull up the GitHub in a separate tab, and you can look through it, and like they'll have sources, they'll have the developers or the contributors talking back and forth, sending screenshots, giving more evidence or examples, or discussing what most likely is or isn't the case for things. It's crazy, man. It's I found this video November 2005 with a period. There's so many sources, like they have to go through old videos, old forum posts, or use the Wayback Machine. When I first started playing, like I knew it was a preservation thing, but I didn't really fully grasp or comprehend or understand what that really meant. I just thought it was fun. There were a lot of trusted people I knew that were playing it. I was like, oh, that sounds cool. I'm going to try it out. But the more I've played and read the news posts and listened to the podcasts, the more and more I've realized how important of a project this is as someone who really loves RuneScape. Unless Andrew comes out with 20-year-old backup RuneScape tapes from his garage, then maybe we don't need this, but you know, it's been over 20 years. If he was going to do it, he probably would have done it by now, so I don't think that's going to happen. But anyways, let's go over the big changes from today. Of course, the Legends quest written, tested, and released. We also got clue scroll completions now being tracked on the adventure log. A couple changes to thieving stalls. They adjusted the stall respawn rates, and then don't delay the player when stealing from thieving stalls. Only one player can succeed before June of 04. Oh, is that what the people were arguing about before? It all makes sense. Another one right here, changed Hellhound hard clue drop rate to 1 out of 64. I believe before it was 1 out of 128, so maybe that was inauthentic. It's been a while since I've showed you guys this site, 2004hq.com. I think I showed it within a couple days of its first release, and all it had was quest guides, and even the quest guides at the time, most of them weren't fully complete, but over the last few weeks, there's been a lot added to the site, and the reason why we're here right now is because I wanted to show you the monster drop tables. The old monster drop tables that I shared the links to in a previous video, that's defunct now. It's been integrated into this site instead. But yeah, I wanted to show you hard clue. You can see all the monsters that drop hard clues. I looked through all these monsters, they're all 1 out of 128, except Hellhounds. This is all taken from the source code, by the way, so this is all accurate, or it should be, to my knowledge. Hellhounds are the only ones that drop at 1 out of 64, whereas all the others on the list are 1 out of 128, which makes sense. I could see Jagex's reasoning for doing that back in the day because they dropped nothing else, just bones. So that's probably why they wanted to give the better rate for the hard clues to Hellhounds. But yeah, with this, I assume to be authenticity changed to 1 out of 64 rather than probably 1 out of 128 before. Hellhounds are probably now the best way to get hard clues. They added medium clues to tribesmen. They added easy clues to thugs. I do want to do clue scrolls in a very soon upcoming video, maybe even the next one, I'm not sure yet. This one isn't really important, but it's kind of interesting. Flax respawn time is now static 25 tick instead of scaling. Alright, here's the thing with the Arty Knights despawning. NPCs will now properly teleport to their spawn if they failed to path for 500 ticks, which is 5 minutes. When that Arty Knight despawned, even though he could have moved to the side, it made me wonder, like, how often does it happen, even if a player's not there? I wonder how often it happens where an NPC only has 1 or maybe 2 directions it can move, but it just happens to not move in that direction for 5 minutes, and it despawns on their own. Is that a thing that happens? Like, it sounds like that's a thing that could and does happen. It's probably really rare, and usually there'd be no one around to witness it, but it sounds like a thing that could happen. Ground item despawn time is sped up across the board by 100 ticks. Some things were incorrectly lasting too long. I mean, I wouldn't know about that. And then finally, which I already pointed out, the hop timer countdown is now sent to the client. And with all that said, let's get back to thieving and finish grinding out level 82. We got the Arty Knight stuck right here, and I'm curious because it's going to eventually despawn unless one of us moves. Does it spawn in the bank? Yep, there it is. Yeah, it despawned. And as you can see, it did not respawn here in the bank. It did respawn where you would have expected it to spawn, because I pulled up Arty Knights, their wiki page for osrs, and if you click show on map, this is for East Arty. I believe this is where the spawn points are. So you can see there's 4 around the square, and then 1 over here for East Arty. I wasn't sure if it was the same for 2004 because it was like every time I went to the bank here, there was an Arty Knight there, but yeah, it does not respawn there. I'm going back to one of the spots up here though, so I don't have to use my own food. Well, except for this inventory of food. As I'm teleporting out, I get a genie, and I think, yeah, this is gonna get me a level 24 Herblore. Oh boy, here we go. Thieve the Arty Knight, 82 thieving. Oh, there's no message about the Yanille thing. And not only that, but let me alch one more bow. And there is... Nice. Cool. Let's go see if this shortcut is actually a thing that I think it is, and see how good it is, and make sure it actually works. Here we are in Yanille. You all know where Yanille is. We're at the bank. We're going to go into this building, go down the staircase, and the door should be right here. Supposedly you need a lockpick to open it, so let's just try if I don't have the lockpick. Yeah, it does say you need the lockpick, so let's pick that up. Pick the lock and the cast druids. Oh, this is so good. And there's so many more of them too. I think in the cast druid tower, I think there were only 4 of them. But here there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Whoa. Oh, this is so good. I'm so glad that it was crowded at the other cast druid spot because I never would have thought. I never would have like looked up all the cast druid spots in the game. Like, it seems so obvious in retrospect. I should have just looked them up. If I had known from the start, I definitely would have just gone straight for 82 Thieving. This spot is so good. This is amazing. It's so close to the bank. And like, there's no way I would get crashed here, right? I was looking at the high scores, and there's only 30 people, well, 31 now, if you include me, 31 people total that can access that shortcut. And if you don't have the shortcut, I can't imagine you would be coming to these cast druids because they're pretty far out of the way. Then again, all the other cast druid spots are pretty far out of the way too. I feel bad after having spent so much time at the cast druid tower, now knowing how much better this spot is. And also because I was taking away spots from other people by being there when I could have just been grinding to get here sooner. Oh my god. As if things couldn't get any better, my first half of key. They're not called loop half or tooth half in 2004. They're just called half a key. What about when you examine it? Oh my gosh, dude, that's like, I think that's like 100k GP drop. That's like 2 hours of money making, or 2 hours of like doing an average skilling somewhat moneymaker method. People are buying them for 100k, selling them for 110k. Oh, such a nice drop, man. Let's see some more of those. Thank you very much, Ring of Wealth. But yeah, I am going to spend the rest of the night here because it's getting pretty late, maybe like an hour or 2 in the morning, and then we'll go over the herbs I got and the stack of law runes I'm at before ending the video. What the rune spear drop? Well, thank you again, Ring of Wealth. What does it look like? Wow. On the marketplace, there's no buy offers. There's a few sell offers, and there's only been one sold 15 days ago for below the high alch value. So I guess it's just going to end up being a 12k alch, which is still really good. A diamond as well. Dude, the Ring of Wealth is going off tonight. And I just woke up and it is so nice being able to log in and not have to hop around 5 to 10 worlds to find an open world for these guys. Got an attack level coming in, level 66. This will be my last trip for the video. Let's go to the bank and see everything I got from the cast druids. The first item that we'll look at is the amount of law runes that I got. I wrote down that I started with 253, and while I did use a few of them for teleports throughout the video, all of these law runes came from cast druids in this video. So started with 253, is now at 734. I gained almost 500 law runes, which are worth about 500 GP each. So that's like almost 250k worth of laws gained from the druids. I really like the pace at which law runes come into the game before the law altar. I feel like they come in at a really good pace where the value of them is still accessible to the average player, but they're still pretty expensive to the point where you're not going to use teleporting as a magic training method. The state of law runes right now makes it really special for new players when they teleport around because they really got to make sure that they mean it when they teleport. And even for mid to late game players, it still makes you think twice about whether or not you're sure you want to teleport somewhere, because while it's not a detriment to use up a couple extra law runes, it is still kind of annoying because of the price of them. But now for the fun part, let's scroll down to the herb section of the bank. I just added this up to see the total amount, and it is 1,680 plus the unfinished potions are another 369. That is a total of 2,049 herbs plus unfinished potions right here. I can't identify what most of these stacks are. I could only identify the first 4. I'm not even going to bother identifying them though. What I want to do is I'm going to put them in order of the highest amount I have to the least amount I have. And then someday when I want to identify what the stacks are, we'll see how accurate this was. If the order of most to least end up being the order of the tiers of herbs. It would be funny if it really was that simple. It's like, okay, there's Guam, Marintil, Tiramin, Hairlander. That would mean that this is probably the Ranar stack. That would mean 173 Ranars, which are worth 3k each right now. I can't identify it. Oh, okay, well, now we know that's the Hairlanders. Does that mean this is the Ranars, 187? Oh my god, that's probably the Ranars. As usual, one final look at the high scores. I am now ranked 30 with 1,247, well 48, I just haven't logged off, 1,248 total level. All the melee ranks are looking pretty good, around 200 to 400-ish. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I really hope you enjoyed. Have a great day, and I'll see you again next time with more adventures in 2004.